Well, there you have it, Goo. We are back. Liquidate all assets. It's Guru, it's Dibs. We're just getting loose for our Sunday national show, Goo, but it is episode 41 nonetheless. What's good, Goo?
Yeah, this is where it all started, so I'm ready to go. And what's funny, episode 41, we had him on the show, Steiny and Guru today, Lorenzo Neal.
Oh, wow. Look at
And
you.
you had your hand up like you were shooting a jumper. Help me
Dirk
out.
Nowitzki. Yeah, I'm going Dirk Nowitzki. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and also the good former Giant Daryle Evans wore 41.
All right, right.
But, Lowe made his big money as number 41, but as you know, he wore deuce 22 back at Fresno State. By the way, you guys were great with Lowe Neal today. That was a good spot.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's always fun, and we'll be on remote next Thursday, Planet Fitness. He'll be with us for the draft.
I love it. And coming up, we will talk about Deebo Samuel and Deebo Samuel's next team and the odds on where Deebo lands. But let's start there, Goo. Deebo Samuel in the news today. Man, that was quite a bombshell that Willard and I had to start our show.
Yeah, I'm like my old homework, a piece of paper, Dibs. I'm torn. I don't know if the Niners are being, I appreciate it, if the Niners are being cheap or if Deebo not is cutting the line. He's due $4 million this year. He's put his body on the line last year. In my mind, he's definitely at minimum a top 10 receiver. That's how much I think of his combination and his skills. So I get not wanting to play for $4. But my goodness, what has the Niner brass done to this young man to where finally we're here where he's requested a trade?
Yeah, he's about that chicken, as you like to say, and I think he's afraid of being pigeonholed as that wide back, a running back, and also a wide receiver. And I'm sure if you're Deebo, you're thinking, man, running backs get driven into the ground. I'm a wide receiver. Pay me like Tyreek. Don't abuse me like Le'Veon.
I'll tell you this. Up until today, and I share it with the listeners, I know Deebo can do it in the air. He had over 1,000 yards. But what hit me like the lady that hit you in the potato in the street years ago, Dibs, hit me in the face. He led the league in drops. Honestly, had you, and I know you always truthful to me, had you known that coming into today? I did not.
No, I didn't. But, drops is always a curious stat for me because, a pass is thrown and then we either decide if it was the receiver who dropped it or maybe it was the wide receiver who didn't throw it in, the right spot. Sometimes the receiver makes something out of nothing and we give him a drop. I'm not saying Deebo is the most sure-handed receiver in the league, but being the league leader in drops to me is a little bit overblown.
Okay, I get it. I was just curious because, again, he's been so dynamic that I didn't know that because normally you'll know that about a receiver. Man, Dibs has no hands. Guru has no hands. But the dude's phenomenal, and I just think it'll be a bad look. I'll wrap it up with this. If he's not wearing the red and gold.
That would be terrible. And this is one of those ones where John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to have to make sure they get this one right, because if you get this one wrong and Deebo leaves and he goes on to superstardom, or he stays and gets hurt, or the picks you get back don't turn into anything, this is one that they're going to have to wear, much like the Trey Lance pick. Right now, they're all in on Trey Lance. If Trey's not the sauce, well, John and Kyle, this one's on them.
You know what? You are right, and I said that was going to be my last. Let me just throw this at you because this is on the bottom. It doesn't even make the bottom step of me trying to figure out what's going wrong, Cagney and Lacey. Do you think he could be looking at number 5 as his new quarterback and not wanting to be a part of that? I find that, before you answer, Dibs, I find that highly unlikely. Like, that's just not the case, right?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we don't really know if that is the case or if it's not the case, but what we know is that he seemed to like Jimmy G, right? When he had his time with Jimmy, it seemed like they had, a real good connection. But now that Jimmy G is most likely gone, we'll see why Deebo wanted to say what he said today. This is Liquidate All Assets, brought to you by Guru and Dibs, brought to you by Livermore Casino. Get in on the action at Livermore Casino in downtown Livermore on First Street, Tri-Valley's only poker destination, offering also blackjack, 3-card poker, baccarat. With no player collection, enjoy their 24-hour gaming floor, full bar, restaurant with indoor and outdoor patio seating. Watch all your favorite games at Livermore Casino. Open 7 days a week. Visit us at 3571 First Street today in downtown Livermore on First Street. Livermore Casino, the Tri-Valley's place to play. Please play responsibly. Well, Goo, this is one of our favorite times of the year.
Man,
we've got action, NBA playoff action, and a nice little slate tonight, Goo.
Yeah, we got 3 awesome games. And then also we got the futures. Actually, who's going to be the last team standing? MVP still out there. I saw Marcus Smart get the DPOY. I was shocked. I had it going to Bridges. But I'm with you. We got baseball. I'm ready, Dibs.
What do you think about Marcus Smart getting DPOY, especially considering what he did to Steph Curry? And I know it was not intentional. It was a good hustle play. But Marcus Smart, when he dove into Steph's leg, he cost the chef, as you call him, a month, maybe even 6 weeks. But I love the way Marcus Smart plays. What do you think about Marcus Smart as DPOY?
You know what? I think they got it right. And I thought Bridges was the front runner, and it would have been a new name. But if Steph Curry, who he didn't, and Draymond Green are on record as saying that's how Marcus plays, I call him a baby Ron Artest with strong hands. You know, it was unfortunate, but I think they got this right. And I'm watching him bother the great Kevin Durant in game 1. Nobody can stop KD, but Dibs, when you play a style of defense like a Pat Bev or Draymond, when you're going up against the greats, you try to pester them or bug them, and maybe that can help you and help your team. And that's what Marcus Smart, to me, does. 82 games, and that's why I'm kind of proud that the voters got it right.
Well, let's start right there then, Goo, because we've got a big one tonight. That very same Brooklyn team going up against Boston. Game 2, Eastern Conference first round. The spread, Boston favored by 3.5. I don't believe this spread when I just clicked on it. To me, this is Brooklyn all day, every day. Boston was not lucky to beat him in game 1, but they had to dig deep. I like Brooklyn in the points here, Goo.
Yeah, we're going to agree. And I told Stouty today, I thought they let one get away. And to be honest with you, they did. I didn't know why Dragic was in on the last defensive play, but he didn't blow the assignment. Kevin Durant did, who, oh, by the way, with his standards, Dibs, didn't have the best game. But I honestly thought Kyrie Irving had just added another chapter in his, I'm going to just stick a dagger in your heart and be a Celtic killer. I hate that got robbed from him, but it's a team sport, not individual. I love Boston, but I thought they would kind of win. Do I dare say easier? I expect Kevin Durant to tie his shoes up. Dibs, did you notice his balance was off? He was falling like the shoes were too big. I've been there. You can't play an NBA game with slack in your shoes. So, KD, lace them up tight. We need you. They need you. And I'm taking Boston on the money line. Excuse me, I'm taking Brooklyn on the money line.
Yeah, I like the money line too. If you're taking 3.5, you might as well go money line.
There you go.
I'm going to put you down for money line, and I'm going to take the 3.5 just in case this thing gets down to the nitty gritty. I want to have that cushion of getting the 3.5. And shout out Alicia Keys with "Fallen." I keep on falling. Her first, you know me, Goo.
You just hit a high note. I love it.
I'm trying. I'll take a 3. Robert Freeman, you're right. Kyrie Irving and the Boston crowd over under on 1.5 birds from Kyrie tonight. Which way you going?
Well, you know what? I love Kyrie.
$50,000 fine, by the way. You got $50K.
Yeah, no doubt. I was just going to say, so I'm going to go under. But, Dibs, what do you think? You played – forget the pro. You played when you were the antagonist and the crowd's there. We've seen Jordan, Curry. They play to it like an actor. It's theater. Why did he feel compelled to I got a middle finger? And I know they're saying stuff, but they're really mad that you left. They're missing your talents. I just wish you wouldn't take yourself too serious. And I hated he had to spend $50K on that.
Well, that's no skin off his nose.
You're right.
50K
You're
is like
right.
$5 for me and you. He
Yes,
goes into the
sir.
wallet. Yeah, I mean, he peels off 50K like
You're right.
it's
Yeah.
nothing. Robert Freeman, by the way, with a good prop,
Robert.
plus 500 on the B word from Kyrie. I don't think you're getting plus 500. That might be even money on Kyrie dropping a B bomb on Boston, and he's not saying Boston, by the way, when we talk about
Right.
the B word. Let's talk
Too
about
Short's
game.
favorite word, Dibs. Yeah.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
my favorite word?
There you go. I'm
Snitch.
gonna do
Yeah,
your 3.
exactly. 76ers going to Toronto. We know they won't have Matisse Thybulle. He's out because he won't get the shot. What kind of a shot, pun intended, do you give Toronto in a desperation spot? Philadelphia favored by 2. Does Toronto have enough to step up and win this one with an over-under of 217?
No, they don't. And the fact that Scotty Barnes, if he's available, Dibs, I know he was hampered and missed last game. They got too many injuries for me, Toronto. I'm hearing Nick Nurse name rumored, to be up for maybe the Lakers coaching situation. Something is just not right with the Raptors. And the fact that James Harden now, when I fell in love with him, he was a ball hog. He dribbled 80 times. But people are asking what's wrong, and athletically he doesn't look right. But you know what he's doing? He's become a facilitator. And for the Sixers to win, I know they're without Thibault, but for him to facilitate and get everybody else off, and Embiid, and he chips in 14 or 15, that's how Philly can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, Dibs, I'm going Mark Rivers, and I think we got our act together, and I think we go up 3-0 today in Toronto.
Oh, it's a solid 4, and I should have asked for some Mock Rivers today in the crossover.
Yeah.
I love Mock more than anybody. That was incredible. I'm going to go over the total here in this one.
I like
over 217. I think with no Matisse Thybulle, Philadelphia's defense obviously will be hampered. Thybulle is a all-defensive team kind of player. I think Toronto at home gets right. They feel comfortable. This one could go either way. I like a high-scoring affair, kind of like a 115, 113 kind of ball game, which would go over the 217. So I'm going to play it safe. I'm not totally bought in on Toronto. I think you're right about Philly, and your Mock Rivers really helped swaying me toward the 76ers. But I'm going to go over the total, 217 in Philadelphia and Toronto. One more goo, and it's an Eastern Conference showdown. Chicago at Milwaukee. The Bucks up 1-0. The Bucks are laying a big number. They're laying 10 at home.
Well, I'm going to shock you and the listeners. I was on the wrong side of this Sunday. I thought Milwaukee was coming in for the WWE beatdown, and the Bulls got their act together and came back and made it a game. And you know what, Dibs? You taught me something I didn't tell you, and I'm going to give you your flowers during the NCAA tournament. These big spreads, sometimes you don't like them. These games are competitive, and we know how the swings in the NBA game. But because I got burnt game 1, I'm going with the Bulls plus 10. I feel like Milwaukee's missing something, not something to where they can't get to the finals, but I can't put my finger on it. And I don't know if it's shooting, but it's something. And I think Zach LaVine and company give them a run for their money. So I'm taking the Bulls plus 10, and hopefully they'll wear my favorite Michael Jordan black uniforms, Dibs, because those are the original. We're just going to shock the world and wear black uniforms.
I like it. The Bulls, by the way, and thank you to Evan Giddings, our producer, for this. E-Dog! E! That's normally what you normally come with an E. The Bulls 43-39-1 against the spread this year, so about 500, but they are 8-15 as a road underdog, and that's the 5th worst covering rate in the association. The Bulls, by the way, 4th in three-point shooting. The Bucks not great at stopping the three. The Bulls are 6th in turnover rate. The Bucks opponents ranked 27th. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the under. I think that 10.5 is too big a number here to take Milwaukee, but I'm not totally bought in on Chicago. I like this game to be a little bit more of a low-scoring affair. 225 is the number. I'm going to go under 225 in the Bucks and Chicago.
Okay, I like that one too. And it looks like, with the analytics and the notes from producer E, that the Bulls already did. Yeah, the Bulls already did their one cover on the road, but I just felt like I saw something to where they can keep it close under 10. So we'll see how you and I do, but I see you going over, and I'm gonna stick with Milwaukee and the Bulls and the points.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm actually going under the total, under 225 in Chicago. Let's touch on the West, Goo, before we look at some of the futures odds. We got 3 games tomorrow in the Western Conference, including Dallas at Utah. Utah is given 6.5. Utah is 8 games below 500 against the spread this year, and the Mavericks yet to lose against the spread as a 6.5-point underdog or greater this year. Dallas without Luka at Utah. What do you think?
You know what? I was stunned Saturday in game 1 that Utah had to go 15 rounds to get the game, which they did win, go up 1-0. But since then, they've lost to a Luka-less Dallas Maverick team. And the whispers, I can't ignore the signs, is that Utah is about to break it and blow it up. And the fact that they lost game 2, I thought it was a shame. Quinn Snyder, I don't know if you can fix what I saw transpire Monday. So I say all that to say, Dibs, is I'm taking Dallas in the points on the road. They know who they are. Jason Kidd has them playing relentless defense. And again, I'm making this pick by default. I have zero confidence in Utah, and I go back to their last regular season game to where they had Phoenix up 16 points in the fourth quarter and scored 3 points. So I think all that residue is still there. They're in bad shape. I'm taking Dallas in the points plus 6.5. Utah's finished, and this will be the home game to where we start seeing the whispers turn into noise and the backstabbing and infighting start.
I mean, shout out Rocksteady by the Whispers, 1985. I'm going to give myself a 3. I'm going to go the other way. I think that Dallas without Luka is ultimately a flawed team, and I love Jason Kidd, but I think Utah coming home. Utah gets this one. Game 4 might be a different story, but I think 6.5, 7 points, wherever you can get it, is not too many. I'm going to go ahead and take Utah.
Let me ask you this, Dibs. How shocked were you at that last result? I know it was game 2. Like I expected, no Luka. Utah's going to handle business. You're hearing the noise. How shocked were you with that outcome in game 2?
I was mildly surprised. I mean, I wouldn't say that I was shocked, but you know, when you're talking about these 2 teams, Utah, Dallas, they're both pretty much flawed. In the West, the only teams I have really full faith in are Phoenix and Golden State, maybe a little bit of Memphis in there as well, but the rest of them on any given night, they could lose to just about anyone, which brings us to Memphis at Minnesota. The Grizzlies are given 1.5 on the road. Minnesota, a home dog with an over-under of 236.5. What do you think about the first game tomorrow in the West?
I'm excited, and I think I've already told you this is one of my favorite series. I was on the losing end last night. I can admit when I lost, Dibs. That's material. I took the over. They didn't get 241, but I think Minnesota's going to be a ruckus environment. The they're the one that didn't hold up their end of the bargain, and I think that was they didn't mail it in purposely, but mentally they knew they got one on the plane ride back to Minnesota. I expect a bunch of points because a lot of bunnies and layups Minnesota missed with Anthony Edwards and Cat, but I think they bounce back. And I really don't have a feel because I saw Ja take a knee from Karl Anthony Towns, go out the game, came back in, but that was adrenaline. But I'm looking at this over of 241, and I think they're going to blow it wide open. So that's where I feel comfortable because these 2 teams are Jesse Owens and Carl Lewis. They're fast breaking. So I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I got it at 237.5, actually, according to E-Dog on the document. Let me click over to ESPN. They've got it at 236.5. So I'm going to give it to you at 237.5, Goo, which, I like that over. I think that this is one of those games where Memphis kind of realizes that they're the better team, and you take control of the series on the road in game 3. Memphis, by the way, 53-31 against the spread this year. That is a remarkable number as a team that's covering the number. Minnesota is about 500 when they're underdog in a tight spot like this. Give me Memphis, and I will gladly lay the 1.5.
I'm going to say this. I love those stats, but Memphis is 1-1 against the spread in the offs because that was a shocker that they didn't handle business against an upstart Minnesota team. But you are right. I do like that, Dibs. They realize, they win a couple rounds, fill it out, that they are the better team. We'll see how that works on the road.
Yeah, this is Liquidate All Assets with Guru and Dibs here, brought to you by Livermore Casino, the Tri-Valley's place to play. Game day special Sunday 10 to 8 and Monday and Thursday 5 to 9. Get a hot dog for $2.50. Chili dog, just an extra buck at Livermore Casino, First Street in downtown Livermore. Well, we saved the best for last, Goo. It's the Warriors on the road at Denver, Game 3. What do you think about this one? Golden State comes in road favorites minus just 1.5 with an over-under of 224.
Wow, I love this. You see, I got the W, even though they don't wear Adidas anymore, but I'm still rocking it proud.
Nice.
This is a sweep, and that was my prediction in the beginning, Dibs. And the fact that it's just a point and a half, that's nothing. The Warriors know who they are. Steph's going to be healthy. I think this is the game he starts. I don't know who goes to the bench. Steve Kerr's obviously found something with the new Def lineup. We can't come up with a nickname. I don't know why, but we'll leave it with the Def lineup, and Denver's undermanned. And I kind of feel sorry for Denver because I don't think that's getting enough play. There is no Murray. There is no dynamic Michael Porter Jr. And the fact that I watched the game with you. You were right next to me, you and I, Rick James, Tina Marie. I couldn't believe that it took a little while for the Warriors to work it out, and they were down 12. So I'm wondering with the altitude, the whistles from the refs, because you know what they say in NBA games, is there really something to that? But then I rest with what you just said about Memphis. The Warriors know they're better than this Dallas team. They're not resting on their laurels. I think it's going to be a blowout, and they go up 3-0, Dibs. So I'm taking the Warriors with the to cover.
I hate not to cut you off, but I'm right there with you, Goo. I'm on the same side. So we start the bit with the same pick, and then we end the bit with the same pick. I don't know if it'll be a sweep. I actually think that Denver might win Game 4. It'll be a gentleman's sweep, but I love the Warriors in Game 3, only laying 1.5, and it's going to be a part of my 6-team NBA parlay that I will lay as soon as this bit is over. Real quick, Goo.
Love it.
You and I, Sunday bets on the BetQL network. Get the Odyssey app and join us this Sunday from 9 to 1. BetQL network at betqlnetwork.com. NBA futures, the Western Conference winner, Suns plus 120, Warriors plus 165 now. Is it too late to get value on the Warriors to win the West?
No, I like that plus 165. Let's do that right now, brother, because, again, kind of recycled information from earlier. Drunk in Love, Beyonce. That's where I am with this Warrior team. And now after you see everybody kind of healthy and back, the emergence of Jordan Poole, they could take this puppy all the way. So I don't know what's going on with Booker and the residue from that hammy, my neck and my hammy. But I like the plus 165 with Golden State. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, Dibs. I'm all in.
I love it. And, to win the NBA championship, the Warriors' odds even better. The Suns right now are still the favorite at plus 300. The Warriors are plus 360. Wow. Milwaukee's plus 450. The Celtics are 750. The Heat 8-1. How about Brooklyn at 14-1? Can Brooklyn get off the mat with maybe Ben Simmons coming back? 14-1. What do you think about Brooklyn still making a run?
That's amazing. I'll tell you this. It's like, the old debate, who was better, Michael Jackson or Prince? The Nets got Michael Jackson and Prince in their starting 5 lineup. And if you're telling me now that Steph's brother is going to have a bounce-back game or series in Seth, because he can shoot it with the best of them, and Ben comes back to rebound, push the fast break, bring the ball up duties, I like this bet, and I'm telling you, Dibs, I'm going to put something down on it. I do think we see Ben Simmons, who's been dressed like Mace the Rapper the last couple of games in this series, sitting on the bench. But, Ben, if you get out there, I think you're going to make a difference, and I like the Nets and this play.
Now, I like the price at 14-1 because, if the Nets can make it by this series and get Ben back and get Ben comfortable in the flow, you mentioned Kyrie and KD. If Ben Simmons plays at the best of his ability, he's a top 30 player in the association, maybe better. Kyrie and KD are both top 10. Seth Curry, a good little piece, and they got veterans behind it. I think 14-1 is a pretty good price if you're looking to take an Eastern Conference flyer. Goo, are you ready for some baseball here on Liquidate All Assets?
You know I am, and I got my play. I got a couple plays, but my play of the night, man, it is Dibs. This is lock this one. I mean, man, you ready for me?
I'm sitting here. I'm waiting.
It's the San Francisco Gigantes at New York against the Mets. After the Giants, who have just been a surprise early on, if you want to call them that, especially with the rotation, they're plus 160 run line to bounce back after losing a doubleheader. And their newly acquired pitcher, Rodon. Mark Willard told me that, Rodon, if I'm doing it right. He has been filthy. He was filthy last year with Chicago. And Dibs, he is phenomenal. I'm taking that plus 160 and the Giants to bounce back and pay the Mets back for losing 2 yesterday. You say what to that bet?
I like it. And, the thing that I really like most about this particular wager is the under. I like the under in this wager because of what you said about Carlos Rodon. He's been terrific early on. He's leading the MLB in strikeouts per 9 with 15.8. The over-under is 6.5, which is not very big.
Yeah.
But the under is 5-1 in the Giants' last 6 as road favorites. And if you take the run line out, if you just take the win line, the Giants are slight favorites. They're actually double favorites. Giants minus 115. The Mets are minus 105. But when those games are, that close, actually the Giants are minus 125. The Mets are plus 105. Chris Bassett, a great pitcher, former A, who isn't, by the way, a former A. I'm going to go under 6.5 and hope for a 3-2 ball game, Giants and Mets.
Wow. Hey, I'm not mad at that because I feel like Rodon is going to do his job. And the Mets, this series, we could talk about replay review yesterday helping them or however you come out on that, but it wasn't exactly Wrigley Field yesterday. So I like that play.
Yeah, talk to me about Boston and Toronto, Goo. It's another game you like.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Blue Jays, and I think they got an MVP candidate in Vlad Guerrero Jr. I'm looking at the Red Sox. I don't know what it is, Diz, but they haven't done it for me, and I expected them to get out the gate early. I'm going to take the Toronto Blue Jays on the run line, my favorite thing to do. That's plus 100. I like it, and they got Barrios pitching for the former White Sox, Twin pitching for the Blue Jays. I like the Blue Jays on the road in those beautiful uniforms to beat the Red Sox by 2 runs.
It's Toronto minus 1.5, and it's plus 100. Jose Barrios, who responded to his bad opening day performance. He pitched much better in his second outing. Nick Pivetta really struggled with his first couple of starts after a really good year last year. And by the way, the Red Sox 0-6 in their last 6, going back to last year when Nick Pivetta is listed as an underdog. Shout out E-Dog for that underdog take. So you're going Toronto minus 1.5.
Yes, sir. And I'm all hashtag random. I got one more thing just on the Nets, if I can quickly, Dibs.
Yeah.
I know Mark Jackson didn't have any coaching experience when he got the Warrior job. I know Steve Kerr didn't have any coaching experience, and look what he's done with the team. I say all that to say is I still haven't got over the last offensive series for Brooklyn and the defensive personnel who was on the floor when Boston had the ball. And I say that to say is how much confidence do you have in Steve Nash? Because I'm telling you, I feel like he's their biggest weakness. Talk to me.
Well, he's never done it. He's never been into a spot where he's coached in the big games. And, when you're coaching two players like KD and Kyrie, it's not that easy to be a new head coach trying to balance these egos. And I know Steve Nash coached, and he was an assistant here, or he was an advisor rather with Golden State, and he got experience that way. But I'm not totally sold on Steve Nash as being a really good OG head coach. Remember other former players like Avery Johnson. It took him some time. Derek Fisher never really got his comfort zone. You mentioned Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson never was able to coach his way over the hump. It takes a long time to figure out how to balance these egos, especially with these new school younger players.
Yeah, well said, Dibs. So, I appreciate that insight. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Again, I'm rooting for Nash, but I kind of feel just like you do.
Yeah, Texas and Seattle. I know you've got one more baseball pick for the people. What do you think about this AL West matchup?
You know what? I like the Mariners in Texas. It's funny the difference a ballpark makes, and I just doesn't think I know the ball does fly in Seattle. I'm taking the under in this game. I got under 8.5 right now, Dibs. I don't know what you have it at, but I see Texas getting shut down. Their lineup at home, they're a different team. The bats come alive, but on the road, they leave a lot to be desired. In Seattle, in that yard, they just kind of scrap and work for everything they get. So I'm taking under 8.5.
I like it. I think that when you look at Texas, they're 6-21 in the last 27 meetings between Seattle and Texas. They're a team that has struggled mightily in this matchup. One more goo before I give you some golf.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a couple of golf picks. We've got the Zurich tournament tomorrow in New Orleans. It's a team event, but the Debo trade odds, the Debo Samuel next team odds. The Colts are 9-2. The Jets are 5-1. The Chiefs are 11-2, and the Saints 11-2, and then the Packers at 6-1. Then the Eagles, and we go all the way through. There's some longer shots on the board, but of those top six, Goo, Colts, Jets, Chiefs, Saints, Packers, the Eagles, what do you think?
I think the Niners are going to do business with their former defensive coordinator. And I don't think the Niners want to see Debo in conference. And I think he lands in New York with the Jets and Robert Saleh. And what would that pay out again?
The Jets would be 5-1. That's currently the second choice on the board.
Right.
The Colts are 4.5-1, plus 450. The Jets are plus 500.
I know the Jets got a boatload of picks. That's why I'm saying that would be attractive to the Niners. Thank you. Okay, see you later. Good luck. So I could see the Niners, who don't have a first-round pick now, if they were to get a big package, I mean, who's to say they don't have multiple first-round picks this draft? But if they could just somehow get one, couple seconds, or a couple first years down the road, Dibs, that would be awesome to me. So I think it's New York.
Okay, I'm going a little bit further south in that region. I'm going to go with Philadelphia. Philadelphia also has 2 first-round picks. Yeah, and when you look at Jalen Reagor, I think that's going to feel like a little bit of a miss for Philadelphia. But, they've got Smith that they drafted last year. He looks like a hit. They would love to have Debo Samuel, I think, a more physical receiver who I think would fit very well in Philadelphia. And yes, Ernie, Cup or Coop, shout out Low Neal.
Ernie.
They're not going to trade Cup or Coop for Debo. Cup or Coop, by the way, is about to reset the wide receiver market.
Well, what do you make of his quote that he wasn't going to try to tear it all down, like he was going to give a hometown discount? I don't know what I made of his quote. He knows he's going to get paid, Dibs, but it was like there was the hesitation, like he knew what time it was and he wanted the team to be able to go get some other things. I was like, oh, that's kind of new if he believes it, or if I'm to take his word for it.
And again, that's, the proof is ultimately in the pudding when, the contract comes down and whatever the money is. If I'm Cooper Kupp, I'm definitely looking to be the highest paid wide receiver in football. The guy won the Triple Crown last year, most catches, most yards, most touchdowns. And now you're in line for a contract extension. If I'm Cooper Kupp or Copper Coop, however you prefer it, I'm looking for the huge chicken. I'm looking for a whole coop. Pun intended.
Yeah, and I've been consistent. I'm gonna give you a one, Dibs. Arms tired. I didn't throw it up. I'll throw it up now. But let me tell you this. I don't know what it is. Is it his stature? I don't know if he's not built like T.O. or Randy Moss, but why is he not referred to as the best receiver in football? Do they think it's a system thing with McVay? I don't. I watched that guy run his routes. It's almost better than the Amari Cooper, and it may be because Amari's been hurt and he's got a new home. But Cooper Kupp, put some respect on his name, Dibs. He's a bad boy.
Yeah, agreed. And, maybe it's because he doesn't make those electrifying plays with the breakaway speed and the one-handed catch. And all he does
he
is
saved
basically
him in the Super Bowl. It was all him. He was the one target.
Yeah. And maybe now he gets his flowers, And shout out small schools. I think he's from Eastern Washington. And, as the Niners may be looking to replace Deebo Samuel, and there's some talk that maybe they're going to go back to Trey Lance's old stomping grounds and tab one of his former teammates.
Yeah, I heard that today. I was like, that's my Steiny, but we'll see. But, that definitely would come on the cheap. But that would be interesting to kind of hook Trey Lance back up with his college partner. We'll see.
Yeah, without a doubt. Goo, just a little bit of golf before we step out here. We have a special tournament here. It's the Zurich Classic where two guys will play as teammates. So we're going to potentially we will have two winners of this event.
I love it. And, my random questions, where is this event taking place at?
It's in New Orleans at a place called TPC Avenal. And famously about, had to be about 10 years ago, I was down in New Orleans, longer than that. I was down in New Orleans for the Arena Bowl, San Jose SaberCats, and I brought my clubs, and I had a couple of days to play golf. I went to this course, TPC Avenal, and it was pouring rain, and I go in the pro shop to wait out the rain, and in comes Byron Scott, who was coaching New Orleans at the time.
What?
And I was like, hey, Byron, what's going on? I work with Tom Tolbert. I was working at KMBR at the time. And, Tom, he's a good friend, whatever. The rain stops. The sun comes out. And like an hour later, the ground is dry because, it's so absorbent there. And the sun comes out. And next thing you know, I'm out there playing golf. Yeah.
Now that's an awesome story, but the fact that the greens were ready, not the Hamilton greens, but the greens on the golf course, that's incredible.
Yeah. I'm going to give you 3 for the New Zealand or the New Orleans reference, rather. That was pretty impressive. For the New Orleans team tournament, Sam Burns and Billy Horschel both have been playing very well. They're 12-1 to win. And again, you can have all these guys finishing in the top 10. Maverick McNeely and Joseph Bramlett is probably the long shot pick if you're looking for a long shot. And I'm in a fantasy golf tournament, and the guys that I really think could be the surprises, Sahith Theegala and Bo Hostler. So look for the Theegala Hostler tandem if you're looking for a mid price.
I love it, Dibs, and I always am fascinated with the top 5, the top 10 finish. And that to me, and I've kind of ran with it, but I can't wait. And this tips off when?
Tomorrow morning from New Orleans. So get your bets in now.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it too, Goo. Hey, all the best. We've gone overtime here, Goo. And, man, I'll see you Sunday morning on the BetQL Network.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Yeah, thanks for everybody listening.